we'll work on that, guys. But we do appreciate everyone's patience. To start our program today, I'm pleased to introduce someone who calls our campus the busiest college campus in Oklahoma. And I sure think he is correct. And I also think that this gentleman is probably the busiest person on the busiest campus in Oklahoma. But I tell you, as busy as he is, he somehow finds a way to be at events like this one. And not only does he love to be at events like this, but he also goes out of his way to make sure he welcomes everyone else who is here. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce the president of East Central University, John R. Hargrave.
Well, on behalf of the faculty, the staff, and all the students that aren't here, I want to welcome all of you to our campus. I do call it the busiest campus in Oklahoma, and I know that all college presidents think that, but I want to tell you, none is busier per capita than East Central University. I want to thank all of you for coming. Ethics is something very important to me and to all of us here. How do you define ethics? This is what this lectureship is about. But I can tell you in one word what I think ethics is about. That is your word good? If you give somebody a promise, do you keep it? Do they need to write it down? Do they need to have it on a piece of paper? It takes an entire lifetime to build your reputation. It takes 1 second to destroy it. I promise all you young people, at some point in your careers, I mean, it's easy to sit here today and say, well, that's right, that's wrong, that's right, that's wrong, that's right. But in your careers, you will be faced over and over again with ethical decisions, because there's very little in the real world that's so black and white you can separate it. There's a lot of gray. And so always fall back to this one challenge for me, and that is do the right thing. If you do the right thing, you'll never be sorry. And sometimes a short-term loss is the right thing. And the temptation to do something in business that gets your company or gets you a bonus or compensation or a little money is very tempting. But if it's not the right thing in the long run, it'll pay you to say, no, I don't deserve that. Or you gave me too much change at the grocery store. Give it back to the clerk. It's not working. So keep your reputation. I see in our audience a man who I had a lot of dealings with in the professional world who was named the winner of the Roy, or one of our alums who athletic supporters who exemplifies character and reputation. That's Mike Smith. Mike, it's good to see you here. I know you're important to John Gaines when he was a student. And John pushed Gaines. And down at Sheep Creek, when he was jumping in the water, they were calling him Preacher Man. So I don't know where that came from, John. Welcome to the lecture. We look forward to hearing John.
Thank you, President Hargrave. I've got to visit with John a little bit yesterday and today, and so many of you mean so much to John, but there's a couple of groups that I think, from what I can tell, are just pretty extra special to him. So I'd like to recognize them at this time. So I saw the members of the football team and the coaches, so please stand. Another group that I've learned was very, very special to John, and that's the School of Business faculty. If you're on the School of Business faculty, can you please stand? And as the president has said, John Gaines left behind many, many friends here, and I know several of them are here today. So, John, I'm going to ask everyone that's a friend of John Gaines to stand up. If you're a friend of John Gaines, all right, let's do that. Finally, a group that is recognizing a former student athlete and a coach who saw this. I know so many coaches, their teams are busy today. We would also like to recognize the women's soccer team. Coach Bailey, would you all please stand? I'd like to also introduce a number of special guests. If you would stand as I introduce you, please. First Dr. Jerry Forbes. Dr. Forbes there, the Vice President of Student Development. Dr. Tel Williamson. Dr. Williamson has more titles than I can think of. Good to everybody. I'd like to introduce some of our other guests that are here today. Dr. Mark Hollingsworth. Also like to introduce Dr. Adriana Lancaster. Dean of Graduate Studies. I'd also like to introduce my favorite dean and one who I owe so much for his help in putting this together. Everything that gets done in the School of Business, he helps us out so much with that. And that's Dean Wendell Godwin from the Southside. Now, I'm thrilled and it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker today. John's going to talk a little bit about before East Central and I think a little bit after East Central. So I'm going to give, I started out to do a brief introduction, but it got longer and longer. So let me tell you what I have. John's a 2011 graduate of East Central University. John transferred to ECU to play football after attending a California junior college. John made the best of his time here, and I believe also made ECU a better place. John always had a smile on his face. He gave his schoolwork and everything he did 100%. He was, in fact, selected as the outstanding general business student his senior year by the faculty of the School of Business. John must have also put in that same kind of effort down on the football field because he was one of the co-captains of the football team. In fact, John must have put that same kind of effort into everything he did because in the spring of 2011, he was given a special award for character. John will be speaking about three things that he's passionate about. Those three things are commitment, potential, and opportunity. I'll probably get in trouble with John for telling this story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. John, I was talking to someone this morning, and they told me that they heard you make lots of speeches. And I said, really, where? Because I'd never heard John speak while he was here at East Central. She explained to me that she spent a lot of times on the ECU sidelines at football games taking pictures. She said John was always gathering up the offense, gathering up the defense, gathering up the special teams, gathering up the trainers, gathering up the cheerleaders, anyone else he could, and giving them speeches during the games. So, John, you've got a reputation to uphold here from the sidelines of the football field. Okay? As John speaks, I want you to know that in the press release that went out about this lecture, Coach McCarty said this: John was a foundation member of establishing our program. With his leadership, unselfishness, and team-oriented demeanor, we were able to really give a solid foundation for this program. He's an outstanding young man, a true professional. We're very proud of him. As John speaks, we'll see a pretty good-sized ring on his hand. It's not a coincidence that ECU was the conference champions this senior season. Now, no doubt football is a team sport. No doubt John made the same contribution as many other players on that team. But no doubt also the leadership, the unselfishness, and team-oriented demeanor that Coach McCarty spoke of sure did very good. John currently resides in Tacoma, Washington. Seahawks, he says. All right. Pursuing his graduate degree in management and leadership and works in project management at a Fortune 100 company. Some of you may have heard of that company. It's called Boeing. Regarded as a phenomenal speaker, he often gives motivational and inspirational talks to various audiences. And in fact, John has started a company called Push that he hopes will inspire people to push for their dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, to share his thoughts on commitment, potential, and opportunity, please help me welcome back to the ECU campus, John Push Daniels.
Y'all hear me? So I always change things last minute. So I actually changed my talk. And it's on potential, confidence, and commitment. So it's so good to be here. Before I start, it's just important to know that this is my dream. I've been preparing for this moment since I was 5 years old. I remember when I would sit in particular lectures, I would sit in the back and I would picture myself coming back one day on the stage and give them motivation or inspirational talk because I love to empower people. But before I begin, I just want to thank President Hargrave, Dean Godwin, Professor Fountain, Coach McCarty, all the professors, all the other coaches that are here that influenced me and impacted my life, because without you all, I would not be here. So thank you so much. I see a lot of my friends, some of them I consider like brothers, Norris, SPSC, you guys. Thank you for coming. Wow. This is the moment. You know, yesterday I caught a flight, and, well, I didn't catch the first flight, but I wrote this letter to Frontier Airlines. And I said, you know what? I'm going to talk about you guys tomorrow. I'm giving you a presentation. Because a lot of times when I travel, I like to wear sweats and Jordans. And so I get to the airport, and for some reason I was overlooked. I arrived at the airport at 5 a.m. My flight was 6:15, right? So I get to the airport, and I'm standing in line, and something was wrong with the kiosk. So I get to the front of the line, I say, hey, something's wrong with the kiosk. They said, excuse me, sir, can you go back and try it again? I said, no, something's, okay, whatever, let me go back. So I went back. Went to the kiosk, they said, please get back in line. That's what the kiosk told me. They said, please get back in line. So I got back in line, right? And I stood in line for about 20 minutes, and at this time, 3 people came behind me, and for some reason, they got to pass me up, so I missed my flight, right? And I called my dad, and I was like, hey, Pop, missed my flight. And he was like, oh, serious? What are you going to do? Just go tomorrow? I said, Dad, I've been preparing for this my whole life. If I have to crawl, I will be there. And I want to share with you guys, nothing just happens. I remember Professor Fountain, he texted me yesterday, and I said, hey, the bigger the problems, the bigger the success. And I experienced so many problems yesterday. Even when I tried to get my rent car, they said, hey, we don't have a car for you. I said, okay. So I stood there, and when I realized I was dealing with a lot of guys, and sometimes if I could deal with a girl, I could just crack my smile. So I see this young lady look at me, so I smiled. Went up to her, and she said, oh, we can get your car, son. Thank you. So I got the car. And so I was driving. I was supposed to go to OKC, but I ended up in Dallas. So I had to drive all the way from Dallas, Big D. Drive from Dallas, right? And for some reason, I got sick in the car. Sick. And then I don't know where I'm going. I text Professor Fountain, and my charger, just stopped working. And so I'm pulling over, it's dark in Oklahoma on the dark road, and I'm just on the side of the road, throwing up. I'm like, wow, this is crazy, but I'm going to get there. Didn't sleep last night. But I'm so excited to be here, right? I want to get this clicker for you guys. And I just want to share that, man, because nothing just happens. Everything you've been through, a lot of you, how many people have been through some trials or some hard times, had a bad day? Some of us. All right, those are people I can relate to because I've been through some stuff. And I realize you got to use that for your motivation. Nothing just happens. Shameless plug, you can follow me on social media, Christians. Who knows what this is? Strike gold. It's about the gold rush. How many people have a dream? Some of you guys. I love to ask that question every time I go and speak, every time I travel and I speak. I want to know who has a dream. Because those are the people that I can also relate to. Norris, tell me your dream. Professional football. See, if you guys answer questions, you might get gifts. I'll give you this thing. No one wants to participate? There you go, bro. He wants to play in the NFL. I believe he'll get there, right? I believe he'll get there. Strike gold is something I tell myself every single day. Every day. And now this is based off of the 1849 San Francisco Gold Rush. I spoke on Saturday with this guy, Clint Rashad. Have you guys heard of the song by Nicki Minaj and Rihanna? It goes like, I can't sing it all, sorry. I came to win. You guys heard that song? So this guy that I was sitting next to, he wrote that song. He wrote that song for them. So I was at this event, and I was pumped up. I'm about to kill it. I'm going to just inspire these people. And I get up. It's my turn to speak. He spoke before me. And I go, hey, I want to talk about striking gold. I tell myself this every day. And it was the gold rush from 1949. I'm like, oh, man. Because the gold rush was 1849. Right? So I was years off. But I tell myself this every day. Because what happened with the gold rush, these people migrated to America migrated to the West, and there was these steamships. They used to travel and they used to take letters and different things to the West. And then someone got hold of some gold in San Francisco. I don't like the 49ers. I'm a Seahawks fan. I'm sure everyone talks bad about them, boy. Richard Sherman, love him. So I was reading an article about the gold rush a while ago, and I was like, man, that's so cool. Because those people took advantage. They took advantage, right, of traveling to the West. And what did they do? They created something. They created something for their families. Because those people that took a risk, took a chance, took advantage of that opportunity, ended up on the West, you know what they did? They found gold. That was in 1849. And I guarantee you, some of those families, those people that found gold, some of those families are still eating today off of what those people did, off of the chance and the risk that they took. Like some of you guys, and there's some people raised their hand, they said they have a dream. But you might have something in your head. I believe you have something so powerful in your head. So powerful that not only you could eat, not only you could be successful. Someone needs to take a chance. I don't know who I'm talking to, but there's somebody in this room that's been hesitant. And maybe you just need to take a chance. I'm telling you, take that chance. If you work a little harder in the weight room, work a little harder in the classroom, maybe you can strike gold. And not only feed yourself, but feed your family for generations. For generations. Second thing I want to talk about, well, the first thing, this is actually my lecture now. Potential. Can you guys say it with me? Potential.
Potential.
Who knows what potential means? Nobody? I'm not in college. I was at the Boys and Girls Club last week. Anybody?
The ability to achieve greater.
That's good. I'll give a couple more definitions.
Built up energy.
Any more? Any more? No? Potential. Capable of being, but not yet into existence. It's almost a deceiving word, right? And when I was a kid, I played on so many different sports teams, and they would say, hey, this team has so much potential. And then we'll get to the end of the season, and then, oh, this team had so much potential. Right? Or if I could just be real with you guys, I've been to a lot of funerals. And you know the funerals like where they're the older people? But sometimes I love going to those funerals because it's like, okay, this guy lived an amazing life, and I'm inspired. Like, man, I want my funeral to be like that. But if I'm just being real, there's some funerals that I've been to, and they say things like, oh, this guy had, or this girl had so much potential. Because that means what? That means they never lived in their potential. And I'm here today to tell you, I believe your potential is right now. I believe your potential is right now. It's really a matter of life or death. Like, you literally have to take advantage of every single day. You have to realize that your greatness is right now. You can't wait to say, I'm going to be great. You have to realize your greatness is right now. I want to share this story. Last year, October, I was in my house watching YouTube, right? I get so distracted. I can watch YouTube for hours. And so I started watching this interview on Kanye West. And he was wearing a band. And so I started this company called Push. Now, the peak of me, push until something happens, persevere until something happens, pray until something happens. It's just all about inspiring people to push. I don't care who you are, where you're from. I believe everybody has a dream. Everybody has a dream. And it's all about inspiring people to push for their dreams. And so he was wearing a band, and I felt in my heart, I said, one day I will give Kanye West a Push band. Like I said, one day Kanye West is going to wear a Push band. He's going to know about Push. So I was watching this interview, then the next day, ended up waking up, and I called my friend Abdul Gaddy. He's on the end. He was the #2 point guard right behind John Wall coming out of high school. Now he plays with the D-League for the Celtics. And so I called him up because anytime I want like Jordans, I'm a sneakerhead. I love Jordan shoes. Right? So anytime I want Jordans, I call him, and if he goes to the store for me, they automatically have the Jordans that supposedly sold out 2 days ago. Right? I literally called downtown Seattle. Hey, you guys have those shoes that came out? No, sir, we can't help you. I'm like, okay, whatever. Abdul, let's go to Seattle, the Nike store. So I go with him, and they have the Jordans. Get my Jordans, right? But I'm at the Nike store with a couple of my friends, and we're just shopping. And Abdul starts to look at these LeBron shoes. And he's like, oh man, he's like, I don't really like these shoes. They were like the shoes that kind of look like the space shoes. Norris, I know you wear a lot of LeBrons. So they kind of look like the space shoes. He's like, oh, I hate those shoes. Like, I hate those shoes. I'm like, you do? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, they're all right, right? And so we're just hanging out. And the employee comes up to us and he says, hey, guys, don't freak out, don't panic. We're like, what are you talking about? Like, there's no cute girls in here. Like, I don't know, what do you mean don't panic? So anyway, we're shopping. He's just talking for minutes about these shoes, how ugly they are. Bro, these shoes, I would never wear these in the game. I'm going with the KDs. Like, these LeBron shoes, they're so ugly. And then, literally, like a minute later, Kanye West himself walks up next to us. Picks up the LeBron shoe. Hey, fellas, you guys like these? My boy's like, love them, bro. He's like, those are the best shoes. Like, he's like, I'll hoop in those. I'll hoop in the park, on the NBA. I'll hoop anywhere in those shoes. I love those shoes. I'm like, what? Right? And at this time, I was with two of my friends. Kim Kardashian walks up. And so they got distracted. It wasn't good for me because I could talk to Kanye. Like, I had a dream, I had a vision that I'll meet him. Kim was good looking. I wanted to look, but I was like, hey, I gotta focus. So I was like, hey, Kanye. Like I knew him, right? He was like, who are you? By this time, his security was like shoving people out of the way. This is literally the next day. You gotta strike gold. Had to strike gold. Kanye, last night, man, actually, now that I say it out loud, it's kind of weird. I was watching YouTube. And you have this band on, Kanye, and he's like, oh yeah, this band, I still wear it, man. I said, man, I had a vision that one day you'll wear push bands. He said, what is push? I told him about push band. It's all about inspiring people to push for their dreams. Like Kanye, like I believe, like I don't listen to any of his CDs, his new stuff. I don't really like it, but hey, I'm a fan right now. So I'm like, Kanye, hey, man, your CD's awesome. I was like, hey, man, I have this push band, right? So we sell these push bands and we have them pair, but it can mean anything, like just push for your dreams. You can do anything. So he said, man, he looked at me in the eyes and said, I love that. So I took off my push band. And it was a blue and green one, Seahawk color. No Hawks. So it was kind of ugly, like if I'm just going to be honest. It was a little ugly. And he looked at it and was like, oh man, I really don't like the colors, but I love the movement. Took the push band. So now today, we're working on getting leather push bands made for Kanye West. Crazy. Like you have to strike gold. Literally gonna like have Kim and Kanye wearing, he sent from a guy from Little Tacoma, Washington, wearing these push bands. I thought about my time here when I was playing football. Right, my first year, my junior year when we played, we would hear it a lot. Some of my guys on the team, there was articles, like we had studs like Armani Bryant, George, like Hall of Famer guys on the squad, right? And we would read the papers, and it always was something along the lines of, these guys have so much potential. These guys have so much potential. And Coach McCarter would always say, hey, figure it out right now. But we wasn't listening to that. We're listening to, hey, these guys have so much potential. We was like, yeah, potential. You know how many games we won that year? Say it out loud. 0. No games. And these guys have so much potential. So we got to the end of the season, man, everybody was sad. I battled through some injuries. But we got to my senior year. And I said, if I'm fortunate enough to be a captain, I said, we have to change this mentality. I told myself, we have to realize by my actions how I work. Like these guys are going to be inspired. Like, we have to realize our potential is right now. Because I knew my senior year, time was running out. I don't want to end up at the end of my senior year. Like time runs out, you have to realize your potential is right now. And so I remember we started out the season, I think we started out 0-3. And we got, Norris was the captain at the time, we got the captains together. And we shared that message with each other. So I was like, hey guys, our potential is right now. So we got the team together. Then we went on to win 5 or 6 games straight. We had a team meeting without the coaches because they can't play for us, right? People can't achieve your dream for you. You have to realize that within yourself that your potential is right now. And we won that championship. And this is, I love this photo, right? Because after we talked to Kanye, he says, hey, are you coming to my concert? I was like, oh man, I had no idea he was even in town. I'm like, oh man, I couldn't get tickets. He's like, oh, no worries. He's like, what's your name again? So then like we go to the concert. He's like, who do you want to come? And I was like, I don't know. Like that's my adopted brother. This is one of my friends and my boys. So I call him, hey bro, you want to go to Kanye? He's like, I was like, I'm with Kanye and Kim right now. He's like, yeah, right. I was like, no, seriously, do you want to go? And so I got 4 tickets. It says John Gaines, guest of Kanye West. Crazy, like I show up to the concert like, yeah, Kanye gave me tickets. They're like, yeah, right. I'm like, no, check. It's like Kanye West. Confidence. Second thing I want to talk about is confidence. This is a big one for me. Because I believe once you realize your potential is right now, you start to develop confidence. Like the P can stand for preparation until something happens. If you prepare right, if you truly prepare, you develop confidence. I had one of my cousins stay the night with me Friday night, and I was speaking at this event on Saturday, this past Saturday. I woke up, and I'm in my room. I just yell a lot to myself. I love to speak to myself and just see how things sound, right? And so he says, what are you doing? He's like, you're not prepared? I said, no. I said, I've been practicing for this my whole life. I said, you hear me? I'm just practicing. I'm preparing. I've been preparing for this my whole life. And when you prepare, you develop confidence. And that's in the classroom, on the field, in life. You can ask the professors. They didn't just end up professors at a university. They prepared for it. Confidence. I was thinking about confidence. Like, what gives me confidence besides preparation? And I thought about this story. When I was 5 years old, my dad gave me a quarter. Does anyone have a quarter? I don't need it, but you guys all know what a quarter looks like. So my father gave me a quarter, and I was 5 years old. But when I was 5, I used to love to hang with like the older kids. So I was 5 when I was hanging out with kids like in 6th grade, 5th grade. And so I was like, hey guys, look, I have a quarter. There's like, my nose is like running. There's like a quarter, cool. I was like, yeah, I have a quarter. I have a quarter. And you don't have one. So they ended up taking my quarter, right? Taking my quarter. That's what happens when you hang out with older kids. They took my quarter. And so I thought I was tough. So I looked right when I turned around, I just started crying. Bawling. Walk home like 2 blocks by myself. You know, like those cries where you like deep breath cries? It was one of those. I held my breath for like a block before I let it out. So I was crying. When I get to my house, I was like, Dad, they took my quarter. He's like, who took your quarter? I was like, Dad, they took your quarter. Like, because my father really wasn't in my life, right? So for him to give me a quarter, it wasn't a lot of money, but it was like a present. I wasn't going to spend that money. I don't know where I could buy, but I wasn't going to spend it. I wanted to save it. I was like, Dad, they took my quarter. He said, who took your quarter? I said, those guys I hang out with. He said, let's go get your quarter. So he gets in his car. We drive 2 blocks. He rolls down his window. He says, hey, get out. He doesn't even get out of the car. He says, get out. So I get out of the car, walk up to the guy's nose, still running, wiping my tears. I want my quarter back. I had so much confidence. Where did that confidence come from? Like, I knew my father was watching me, right? I don't know, like today, man, I don't know what gives you confidence, but for me, it's my faith. For me, it's my preparation. Like, I have confidence. And when I decided 2 years ago that I wanted to be a speaker, that I wanted to empower people, because I feel like some people have dreams that can change this world. Like, literally change this world. It's really that serious when I say, hey, I have a gift. I want to speak. I want to empower people. Right? So I developed confidence, and this was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I wrote it down. I said, hey, I want to speak. It was in January. Literally the next day, this school calls me, hey, a speaker canceled last minute. We need a speaker. I don't know how they got my number. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll be there. What's your biggest crowd? I do a lot of crowds. They didn't tell me they had over 2,000 students, right? So both sides were filled. So I get there, I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is crazy. Over 2,000 students, and if you miss it with high school, like they might boo you. Like for real, especially when you go to the hood and you're trying to give them motivational talk. It's like you don't get booed. It's over 2,000 students. So I was like, man, I remember one of the teachers came up to me and he was like, hey, he's like, you know we have over 2,000 students. I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. I was like, I'm ready though. Just confident though. I've never been on a stage like that in my life. But when you prepare, when you have something that drives you, when you have something that gives you confidence, nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you. How many of you guys have confidence? That's good, because it comes in the classroom. Like I use that confidence today, even in corporate America. Even in corporate America, anywhere you go, Anywhere you go, you need confidence. Potential, everyone say it with me. Potential?
Potential.
The greatest potential is right now. Confidence. This is my favorite. Commitment. This is my favorite. Commitment. Commitment. Who knows the definition of commitment? Somebody. Come on, college students. I want you to.
If somebody's doing something, you got to stay to it.
Yeah, that's good. That's perfect. You got to stay to it. Here, my man. I don't know if you guys get this to him? You have to stay to it. You have to be committed. You have to be committed. Like once you realize your potential is right now, and your greatness is right now, and you prepare for it, you develop confidence. But none of that matters if you're not committed to it. If you're not committed to that dream, to that goal, none of that matters. None of it. So I was reading about the lion. Love lions, man. I'm fascinated with them. Right? So I was reading about the lion probably a few weeks ago. I was reading all these things about the lion because I believe like you all were created to be kings and queens. I truly believe that. I believe every human being. Some of them don't get it, some of them do. But you were created to be a king. You were created to be a queen. So I was reading about the lions because I want to study kings. I like to study kings. Animal kings and human kings. Both. So I was reading about the lion, right? And I read this article. It blew my mind. At the end of the article, it said that the antelope runs up to 80 miles per hour. Crazy, right? It's fast. It said the gazelle can run up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. Pretty fast, right? Then it said even the warthog, like a warthog, a wild pig, can run up to 50 miles per hour. And then it got to the lion. It said the lion only runs about 35 miles to 40 miles per hour at best. That's crazy, right? Blew my mind. So I thought to myself, the lion always eats. Like, how does a lion eat? Like, all of its prey is faster than it. All of it. Literally, even the wild pig is 10 miles faster. And then I read about its competition, the other predators. They're all way faster than the lion. But when you turn on the Discovery Channel and you're watching the lion, what is the lion doing? They're usually eating, right? Eating. If you're hungry, you'll eat. If you're hungry, you'll eat. Like that dream, that goal, whatever you have, it may look faster than you. Like the hyenas and the cheetah, they probably sit back and laugh at the lion. He's not going to catch that. But you always see the lion eating, right? He is committed. He's committed. He's committed to eating. Like in my world, eating is his dream. Like how committed are you? How committed are you to being great? How committed are you to being great? Because a lot of times a lot of people give up. They hear things like, hey, that dream, that goal is way too fast for you. Like Norris in NFL, yeah, right, it's too fast for you. But if you realize you are a king, nothing's impossible. If you're hungry, you'll eat. And I love the lions because they relate. They relate to me, man. I was thinking about my story. I know you guys read some of it. Maybe about over a year ago, I bought a duplex back home. Because when I was young, I told him I wanted to have a relationship with my father because he had a kidney transplant. So I said, Dad, when I get older, I'm going to buy a house. You can live with me. But as I got older, I realized, man, I'm a grown man. I want him to live with me, but he can live like downstairs on the side. So I just bought a duplex. So I ended up buying a duplex, right? And so my father lives downstairs right now. I try to spend a lot of time with him. And one particular night, we were talking. And my father said, I was going over like the poem that I was writing. Hey, Dad, what do you think about this? He's like, oh man, I love it. And he stopped. And it was silent. Silent, just like this, intense. His eyes got watery, right? And he said, hey, John, I'm so proud of you. I was like, oh, thanks, Dad. Like, we joked around. Like, okay, thanks. Anyway, what do you think about this next? He said, no. He said, like, I'm really, really proud of you. really, really proud of you. I said, thanks, Dad. His eyes got watery. He started crying. He said, John, you know what, man? He said, out of the 100 babies surveyed, he said, he said, you were the most healthy. He said, out of the 100 babies surveyed, you were the biggest. I said, oh, yeah, that's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that. Okay. Yeah. I was trying to read the poem, like, okay, thanks, Dad. I'm tired. I was like, but then I started to think to myself. I said, Dad, why was I surveyed at all the babies? Like, why was I surveyed, Dad? And so at this point, he started crying. And I realized he was serious. So like, when my people heard, I heard. So I started crying a little bit. I don't know why I'm crying. I'm like, Papa's crying. So I'm crying. I've never seen my dad cry in my life. So I'm just crying. Like, he's not even talking. I don't know why I'm crying. I'm trying to focus on the phone. Like, don't want him to see it. He says, man, when you were in your mother's womb, now if I could just be real with you guys, just be honest, because some of you are going to face some hard times, go through some difficult times. He said, hey man, when you were in your mother's womb, she used crack cocaine, heroin, drank alcohol, smoked cigarettes. Wow. He said, John, when you were in your mother's womb, she was all those things. She had no idea she was even pregnant. She had no idea. I said, well, that's a good thing. He said, it's a great thing, John. Now, I just have to be honest with you guys. But he said, John, prior to you, she had 2 abortions. He said, prior to you, she didn't want to have kids. He said she had 2 abortions. 2. He said, but she didn't know she was pregnant. So she used all these drugs, had no idea she was pregnant. He said, man, you have a purpose. He said, you have a purpose. He said, man, and then when the doctors realized she was pregnant, she went to the doctors and said, hey, I want to get an abortion still. They said, we can't do that because we'll kill you and we'll kill this unborn child. We can't do it, man. We can't do it. And then he said, but hey, just so you guys know, this kid will most likely be physically or mentally disabled if he makes it. Like, he's going to have some mental issues. Like, I'm not saying I'm perfect. He said he's going to have some mental issues, or he's going to be physically disabled, or he might not make it. So my father said, man, so when you were born, and you were bigger and stronger and healthier than those kids, he said, man, you have purpose. And at this time, I started crying. I said, God, Dad, thanks for sharing that with me. Because I was speaking for a while, right? Because I thought I had a pretty powerful story. Because when I was young, literally every day, I would come home and I could literally smell crack in the air. See my mother smoking crack cocaine. So I would share that with people. Hey guys, some bad stuff's going to happen. Some bad stuff's going to happen, but you can do anything you want to do. I had no idea before I was born all the stuff that happened, right? So I would come home every single day. And this particular day, me and my sister, we used to walk home together. But this particular day, I got off of school early and I wanted to go home because I just wanted to see Mom. April 21st, 1995. Just wanted to see Mom, right? So I walk in the house, walk up the stairs, see my mom on the floor. 7 years old. 7 years old. Mom was gone. She passed away that day. Mom was gone. Right? So I face a lot of issues. But it doesn't matter where you came from. If you were born into this world, the reality is you're probably going to have some bad days. You're probably going to go through some difficult stuff. But you got to be committed. I'm so committed to this, man. This is why I speak. This is why I speak often. This is why I try to encourage people. Because they told me I'd never be anything. Like when I was a kid, I could not read. I didn't learn how to read until I was 9th grade. So for a professor found me to get up here and say, hey, he graduated outstanding student in business. I'll never forget when Dean Godwin gave me that award. Never forget it. Because I was with one of my good friends, Chuck Burks. He came with me to the business banquet. And they named me the general outstanding graduate in business. And I remember getting that award. And I remember walking out with Chuck. I just started crying. Like, man, this this is crazy. Because I couldn't even read. So they're not saying, John, you're just a graduate in the School of Business, but you're the outstanding graduate in the School of Business. Like, this means everything to me. I remember when I was a kid, I had a dream of getting a 4.0. I told some kids, I said, hey, one day I'm going to get a 4.0. They laughed at me. I remember when I was at ECU, I got 3 4.0s. That. Like, you can do anything. Like, that dream, it looked fast. But once you realize that you're a king and you're a queen, you can do anything. Nothing's impossible. Nothing's impossible. What does a lion do after it gets its food? After it kills its prey? What does a lion do? Anybody know? Man. Look, I probably told this story 20 times this past 2 months, and no one has ever said that. Calls in the family. He just stroked up. You gotta get this right. Calls in the family. Sorry about that. Calls in the family, right? So he gets the meal, right? He turns around. He usually looks out because there's about 6 to 20 of them, other lions looking at him. Like, that lion realized if he's not committed to his dream, if he's not committed to eating, he may die. But not only will he die, he'll never teach the other lions how to hunt, and they won't eat. They might die. Like, somebody in this room. I don't care if it's one person. Everywhere I go, if I could just inspire one person to change the way they're doing things. Somebody in this room, you have the potential to change your family's life, your friend's life, and their lives literally depend on it. Like, if you don't live that dream, if I'm just going to be real, you might die. Or your family might die. Like, you might be the first person in college. You might be the first person in your family to practice good ethics. You have to do something different in order to help your family. That line eats. I spoke at this event the other day. It was called Hungry and Humble. Hungry and Humble. Right? This speaker, this guy who played for the Lakers, spoke before me. He's like, yeah, I'm hungry. I got up after him. I said, I'm starving. I said, I'm starving. I want it. Because if I don't live this thing, I believe people might die. If I don't inspire people to push for their dreams, if I don't inspire people to push for their dreams, all while living my dream, I might die. It's that real to me. I have got to be committed. I want you guys to say this with me, then I'll close. Pain is temporary. Pain, say it like me. Pain is temporary. Strength is forever. I was thinking about that. Pain is temporary. Everything I've been through, you know what's cool about it? None of it lasted. Even yesterday, horrible day yesterday, I was able to use it as motivation and share that with you guys and keep pushing. Everything I've been through, I'm thankful for it. I say that people are going to be like, I'm crazy. How could you be thankful? I'm thankful for it. You know why? Because now I can share that pain. And I didn't quit, so that pain was only temporary. That pain was temporary. And strength is forever. Everything I learned in the midst of the trials, the tests I failed in school, was hurt. Was hurt a lot while I played here. Everything I've learned in the midst of the pain, I gained strength. And you know what? I'm still riding on that strength today. Every problem I go through, I turn it into strength. Pain is temporary. Say it with me. Pain is temporary. Strength is forever. Keep pushing, guys. Thank you.
Question to ask you guys some questions. You've had an opportunity to do that. So now it's your chance. Does anyone have any questions for John? If you'd like to get a wristband, you can answer and get him a wristband. Okay. No questions?
Okay. For Bowen? Yeah, that's a good question. Bowen's such a cool company where they let you live your dream. So I do a lot of speaking. I was sharing with the class earlier that I was able to go to the vice president's leadership team meeting and tell them, hey, you guys are going to be great. But hey, I get to do that, speak to different staff groups and on leadership, and then I also do a lot of project management type stuff.
Great. I'll let you go.
Sorry if I hate you.
All
trials, such as you are, being beaten down and broken. It's something that happens quite often. How do you continuously find the will to always stay committed and always keep forward?
Yeah, you know what I do every day? I tell myself strike gold. And then I have these 7 I ams that I say I'm actually writing a book on, right? I just remind myself every day of who I am, my identity. I tell myself like things, hey, I'm a successful CEO of Push. Like I'm a great leader. But then when something is really bad, like yesterday, as corny as it sounds, and I just look down at my Push man. It reminds me of everything I've been through. Like the logo, we use negative letters to spell a positive word. And it just reminds me, like, all that negative stuff, you can be positive. You can use it to be positive. So really, those things help me daily. We might have to just pass. Someone help me out. The middle. Yeah.
Oh, nice arm. Other questions?
Yeah. So it wasn't always easy. It wasn't always easy for me. But when I was 18, I'll never forget this day. Like everything I've been through, I was battling like depression and different things and really struggling where I started to have like suicidal thoughts. Suicidal thoughts. So I talk a lot about commitment, but the thing that changed from that day to where I am now, I decided to commit to God. The rest is history.
One more question?
Man, my brother had a basketball scholarship at CLU, and you need lessons, I help you out. So my brother, yeah, right. So my brother used to bring me Dr. Seuss books, literally Dr. Seuss books, and I would read those things. Read them. But now I'm in love with it. I just love to read. Like I love to learn.
John, knowing what you know now, if you were sitting here where these guys are sitting, what would you do different from what you did when you were here?
I would not have that hurt. I wouldn't have that like that. But honestly, when I was here, one thing I wish I would have done, I wish I would have spoke more. I didn't speak. Some of my teammates, okay, I used to talk to the guys, but I was kind of a quiet guy, kind of like, not an outsider, but I really didn't go to parties. But I wish I would have spent more time with the guys, just to encourage them and empower them, because I know like some guys I graduated with are still struggling, today. So I wish I would have really developed better relationships with people and just took more chances and really got to know people. So relationship is important, guys. I'm not talking about like girl-guy relationship, like friendship. It's important because these are some of your people that you're going to talk to and communicate with the rest of your life. I still talk to Norris often, SB often, Chuck all the time.
One more question.
What were the influences in your life when your mom passed away into those high school years?
Oh, my brother was a huge influence for me. One of my brothers went to prison, so he didn't help me that much. But the other one, he's a detective back home, and with Push we have a basketball program where you can for girls basketball, and sex trafficking is really big back home. So he's a detective, but then he also has a heart for young ladies. So we decided to partner. So we get 15% back. And then he was such an influence. Now he's still a big influence, believing so much in my dream where I can't pay him. He takes a lot of his time just to help spread the word, for me. So.
Josh told me when he was 7, his brother was 14 years older. So his brother was a junior in college. And his brother and sister-in-law and grandmother tried to steer John down a good path.
Yeah. Yeah, my brother, he was like some of you guys. He was on a basketball scholarship at Seattle University, which is a D1 school. So he was busy. Mom passed away. He had to strike gold. Had to step up to the plate. Had to be committed. my suit's too tight. I gained like 20 pounds this past month.
Ladies and gentlemen, a final question for you. I guess in closing today. Now, John's going to be here for a little bit. Really encourage you. If you're a friend of John's, come up and talk with him afterwards. He's here today to see you. So he'll be here until Wednesday. Here at East Central, we say very, very often, and I know everyone has heard this, but we always say, once a tiger, always a tiger. And so my question for the students today, and I asked this question last fall, and that's what's a tiger? If we're going to say once a tiger, always a tiger, then what's a tiger? Family. Well, let me give you my definition of a tiger. And believe me, this gentleman right here is a tiger. So to me, here's what a tiger is. A tiger's tenacious. A tiger never gives up. A tiger finds a way to get things done. And a tiger sees things through. To me, a tiger is involved. A tiger sees things that need to be done and does them. The tiger's a joiner and a leader, doing things for others and doing things to make themselves better. To me, a tiger is grateful. A tiger's grateful for opportunities and help that comes their way. The tiger knows no one ever figured everything out for themselves or did anything great all by themselves. The tiger is enthusiastic. The tiger attacks tasks with an attitude that makes people want to work with them or for them. The tiger is the first to arrive, the last to leave, and the one encourages everyone through their words and their deeds. The tiger is reliable. A tiger does what they say they will do. A tiger can be depended upon when things are calm and when they're chaotic. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give John a big hand. And believe it or not, give you something you can take home. I hope you'll put that in a special place. Again, thank you all for being here. We really do appreciate it. Again, John will be around here for a little bit. Go be a tiger. Go